الله الذي لا إله إلا هو الملك القدوس. It is He, Allah, who there is no other God worthy of worship but He in rightfulness. Is fear and phobia. Allah, who created the human being, knows that the human being has fears, has anxieties, and these different names that we can identify with, like Al-Mu'min, the granter of security, calmness, peace and confidence. And if a person is too extreme in only fear, they fear Allah, they fear His punishment, they fear the hellfire, they fear His anger, they fear, again, that's a person who will destroy themselves too. Because then that leads to depression and losing hope in Allah altogether. Allah, who created the human being, knows that the human being has fears, has anxieties, develops phobias in life, can go into a depressive state, goes through confusion and doubts. So in order to remedy that, Allah introduces Himself to us in these different names that we can identify with, like Al-Mu'min, the granter of security, calmness, peace and confidence. And how many phobias and fears this modern day age has among people. There are over 500 different phobias now named among people. Phobias of all different sorts. Some things can't explain. People have phobias of height, people have phobias of confined spaces, phobias of night, phobias of day, phobias of animals, phobias of social interactions, phobias upon phobias of everything. People go on antidepressants more than any other age that we've known as far as history of psychology is concerned. We have more psychologists and therapists than ever before. Depression and anxiety is at its highest these days. And we are so in need of our hearts to find security and comfort. And Allah tells us, I am Al-Mu'min. Al-Mu'min, the granter of security and safety, is mentioned only once in the Qur'an. Nowhere else except in Surah Al-Hashr, which I just recited in Salat Al-Isha. هو الله الذي لا إله إلا هو الملك القدوس. It is He, Allah, who there is no other God worthy of worship but He in rightfulness. Al-Malik, the king and owner of everything. A king may rule, but doesn't mean he owns everything. But Allah is Al-Malik and Al-Malik, which means He is not only the ruler and the king of everything, He is also the owner of everything. Al-Quddus, the holy, meaning He is absolutely pure, no blemishes, no impurity, holy. As-Salam, the peace, the peace. Al-Mu'min, the granter of security, the refuge for security, the refuge for the asylum seeker, the refuge for the person who is scared, the refuge for the person who has phobias, the refuge for the person who is frightened of anything, threatened, scared. Al-Mu'min, Al-Muhaymin, the one who has control over everything. Al-Aziz, the majestic and the transcendent. He is above everything. Nothing is above Him. Everything's below Him. Al-Jabbar, the dominant. Al-Mutakabbir, the one with the most pride. Now when you say pride, when people say, I am the greatest, then that is arrogance. Because in reality, no one can be the greatest. But when someone truly is the greatest, then he has a right to call himself the greatest. And who is the greatest? Only one. He is Allah. He is the only one worthy of calling himself the great. Because it's true, he really is the greatest in reality. Subhanallah amma yushrikun. Far away from any imperfection is he from anything that they associate with him. Nothing is like him. My brothers and sisters, although Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala's name truly is Al-Mu'min, the one who is the refuge and sanctuary of the one who is afraid and scared, the place of security and the giver of security, he is also the one to be feared. How can you seek refuge and security in Al-Mu'min, Allah, while we also fear him? It seems like a contradiction, doesn't it? But we truly fear Allah, and we have hope in Allah, and we find refuge with Allah in both meanings. They are both true, but you need to understand how they are applied. A true believer who knows Allah, knows his names and attributes and his guidance, understands that living in this world is between two qualities and two feelings in a balance. They are called hope and fear together. If one holds on to one of them, is extreme in one of them, they'll go astray. For example, if you focus only on hope and that Allah is the place of security, but you go to too much extreme with that, then it can make a person live a life of false illusions and expectations, and they will take Allah for granted and not give much care to sins and disobedience, because they'll always say, God is loving and He's merciful and He's my security. I can do anything I want. He's still my security. I love Allah and He's my security. Loving Allah and Him your security. Did this God who gave you and brought you security, did He not give you a guidance and a manual to live your life by in order for you to feel that security and be connected to Him? If I ignore His guidance and His manual, which He created me with and gave me with and sent me the messengers, and I live only with hope without also being cautious, then I'm going to take all His guidance for granted, and I will think, I don't even need to obey Allah, I don't need to follow anything. And that's disrespect to Allah. And if a person is too extreme in only fear, they fear Allah, they fear His punishment, they fear the hellfire, they fear His anger, they fear, again, that's a person who will destroy themselves too. Because then that leads to depression and losing hope in Allah altogether. And Allah already addressed this in the Qur'an, saying when Jacob, Yaqub, the great prophet, said to his children to go back and look for their brother Yusuf when he was lost in the land of Egypt. He said, Ya bani yadhabu fatahassasu min Yusuf. O my children, go back to Egypt, in Egypt in brackets, and search for Yusuf carefully. وَلَا تَيْأَسُوا مِنْ رَوْحِ وَأَخِيهِ, and his brother. وَلَا تَيْأَسُوا مِنْ رَوْحِ اللَّهِ, and never give up hope in the mercy and guidance of Allah. إِنَّهُ لَا يَيْأَسُ مِنْ رَوْحِ اللَّهِ إِلَّا الْقَوْمُ الْكَافِرُونَ. No one gives up hope in Allah's mercy except those who disbelieve in Him. Of course, because if you disbelieve in Allah, you disbelieve in all His security and His words and His mercy. So a believer does not live in one of the two extremes, but in balance. The best way I read was that the scholars described the heart of a believer in this way. The heart of the believer is like a bird that is flying in the sky. And it has three important parts. The head is described as the love of Allah. So you're looking forward with the love of Allah. The right wing is hope and trust in Allah's security and mercy, and the left wing is the fear and awareness of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala.